Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is all about perfume, and as you can tell, I'm here to point out some, I think, mistakes when it comes to applying your perfume and how we can really elevate our sensory experience when we are wearing a fragrance we love. And I think the title and the thumbnail was a little bit too much, but I don't think they're necessarily mistakes. It's just that there are better ways of doing it and we can elevate and optimize our perfume experience. So I'm here to share with you guys some things that I've learned the hard way when it comes to fragrances. Let's get to it. Number one, I see a lot of people spraying perfume directly on their clothes because it's meant to last longer, it's meant to project better and all that jazz. That is correct in theory, however, the way people are spraying can be a little bit too much. The first way I see people spraying on their clothes is outside on their clothes and just everywhere, and that can be really annoying for other people, not for you particularly, just because once we smell something for a long time we get really used to it and we don't think the scent is like really intense and we can't really smell it after a while. That's why a lot of people like overspray and over apply their perfume. It's because they think the scent has disappeared, but in reality you've just grown accustomed to it and you're just used to it, and other people can still smell it and it's really intense. Just for example, if I'm wearing this jacket and I'm spraying my perfume everywhere on the outside, it's going to project really strongly, and whilst that may be what you want, you really want to stand out, you don't really want to make it like annoying for other people. So what I recommend instead is spraying on the inside of your clothes and actually towards the bottom. So another thing is it depends on the material of your clothes. If you have something like cotton, the fiber's a little bit more fine, it's a little bit more, I guess, subtle, and it takes longer for it to project. But if you have something like really hard, like denim, or even something with a bit of a bigger, I guess, fiber, like these knits with like wool in them, it's going to actually last a lot longer and project stronger as well. So for example, for jackets, I would recommend spraying on the inside of your jackets. And another thing is, I'm going to use this as demonstration, is that you want to actually spray on the bottom of your clothes. So on the inside and towards the end of whatever you're wearing, just because scents actually travel up. So if you spray it really on top and people like hug you or come close to you, it's really strong and intense and it could be a little bit invasive. Whereas if you spray it on like the bottom of your clothes, it's going to travel up, it's a little bit more subtle, and it smells a lot more natural and just overall better in my opinion. Now another thing I want to add to that is people overspray their perfume on their clothes and it's in fear of people won't smell it, and sometimes it can be irritating for you as well. I've definitely done that where I put on perfume and I'm like, I'm gonna smell great all day, and it's just so intense, it's headache inducing. So another hack I like to recommend is actually spraying perfume on your clothes the night before you wear it. Now, this could be an extra step, but for me, sometimes before I go out, I actually plan my outfit like a day in advance, so I just don't run around and become really late the next day when I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I wearing? It's just too much. So what I like to recommend is combining with what we learned earlier. When we have the clothing we want to wear the next day, we're going to actually just marinate it in. So what we're going to do is I'm going to flip it inside out on the bottom and just like a few spritz like that, and then I guess like mush it up a little bit and then let it do its thing. This scent is going to last all day, and let's be real, we're not going to just put perfume on our clothes, we're going to put it on our body as well the next day. Just make sure you're spraying the same perfume and it's going to just really create that aura and scent circle, I like to call it, and it just is very holistic and well-rounded, which I think is much better. And honestly, it makes your room smell really nice too. You're just like, oh my gosh, this smells so good. It's kind of like why I used to spray like perfume on my curtains and leave like a gap in my window so the wind travels through the curtains and my room just smells so much nicer than using like a room spray. I don't like room sprays. I like it when I put it on my curtain and wind goes through it. The last thing I want to talk about that I find people doing with perfumes and clothes is they like to spray colored perfume on pale colored clothing. Now I've done this as well. So when you have like whites, grays, or like, you know, very light pastel-y colors, you do not want to spray a perfume on that, because perfume can actually over time create like pigmentation and color. So some of them already come with color. So for example, my greatest example is the replica perfumes by Maison Margiela. you do not want to stain this on a white t-shirt. This will look like it's old and musty, and it's just not worth it. Even if you put the like hems and the bottom inside of your clothes, it's going to seep through and it's going to stain. Please don't do that. If you were to wear this, put on something dark like a black shirt. I even wouldn't recommend that. I think for colored perfumes, stick with your skin, because it could over time create some discoloration with your clothes. So just something to be aware of. Don't put colored perfume on light colored t-shirts. Now, another mistake I see people doing with their perfumes is spraying it directly in their hair. Now, the idea of it is really nice if you think about it. You know, you walk through the sun and then the wind's blowing in your hair and then just this natural fragrance comes out and you are just giving fairy. But let's be real, perfume has a lot of alcohol concentration in it. That's why it evaporates and it actually creates like that long-lasting scent. And alcohol is known to dry out things, whether it's in your skin, for skincare, and same with your hair. Your hair, like, and your scalp also has skin on it, believe it or not, and it can really dry out your hair and damage it. Especially if you have like damaged hair like me when I dyed it, you do not want to put extra alcohol on that unnecessarily. So rather than spraying it directly into your hair like this, and also if you have an oily scalp, it's just gonna get really grotty. Like, just no. I've done this, but it's not good. So what you actually want to do, I have two solutions for that. Number one is spraying it in your hairbrush. So what you can do is spritz your perfume and just give it a little bit of like a wait, and wait for the alcohol to really just evaporate and do its thing. And then what you want to do after this is all dried down, you're going to have the scent onto your like brush, and that way the alcohol concentration is a lot less, and when you're brushing it through your hair, the scent actually stays in your hair a little bit, and it's a lot more, I guess, reserved and less intense as to like just spraying it directly on. It just creates a really lovely aura, like I said, and I just think it's so much more well-rounded and holistic. So you can just really brush through your hair. I recommend brushing through the tips of your hair, just because the top of your head and near your scalp, it actually gets oily. So I think if you mix that with the perfume, it could just smell a little bit funky and interesting. So I like to just brush through my hair with now the previously perfume brush, I like to call it, and yeah, it just smells really nice. I know this kind of goes against what I said about like damaged hair, like since the tips of your hair are usually the most damaged, but I do think this is the most effective way to apply perfume in your hair if you don't have like a professional hair mister kind of perfume situation. And it honestly smells so good. It just smells like your hair went through a really nice shampoo and spa session. It's so good, and it detangles your hair as well, so it's like a two habit in one. I love doing this, and I do this all the time. Another solution to that is actually spraying some perfume in your hair tie. So this is kind of like the clothing and fabric kind of idea as well. So when you have something that is made out of like a more like porous material, it will soak in more of the fragrance. So what I like to do sometimes as well is I take my hair tie and I actually spritz it a few times. I like to scrunch it up so it's a little bit more denser so I don't miss a spot. Spray it in, and you can see like it absorbs the perfume because, you know, this is water, this is like another material, and then just like let it scrunch, let it sit. And whilst you're doing that, I actually massage it into my hands so that my fingertips and hands also have a beautiful scent on them as well, and again, more subtle. And it just actually like elevates what you do when you interact with other people. A lot of these hacks I do keep in mind when you're interacting and at social like events as well, because once you have like some scent on your fingers, it will go away just like really quickly because your fingers just interact with a lot of things, whether you're writing, whether you're like shaking hands. But especially when you're like hugging and shaking hands with people, it leaves a little bit of your scent, like because it's on your fingertips and it's not cloying at all, it's not irritating. But that's just like another extra hack in there. But now you have all the perfume like soaked up in your hair tie. You can tie up your hair just as normally you would, and let's just say we're gonna put it in a ponytail like this. This scent in your hair tie is going to like slowly seep out and let people know that you're wearing perfume, but they're kind of like, oh, where is it coming from? It's a little bit like inconspicuous, so it almost smells like as if you just smell like that good. It's like a very subtle way of elevating your outfit, because I believe perfume is a part, like it's a part of your outfit, it's a part of you. So no disagreements there. And yeah, it's just a really nice way to make your hair smell nice. Finally, something I want to talk about is making your perfume more long lasting. Now, I see a lot of people actually applying Vaseline on their wrist, which is a pulse point, and then spraying perfume on it to make it last longer. I used to do this a lot, and I thought it was the most life-changing thing ever, because it's basically like a DIY like perfume balm, and I thought it was so smart. But over time, I stopped doing that just because Vaseline is a very kind of emollient texture. It doesn't really ever dry down. It's kind of always like this oily slick to it. It doesn't really absorb into your skin. It creates a barrier on your skin. That's what Vaseline is. That's why so many people use it for lip balm, because it's creating this barrier from your moist lips and like the dry environment. So when I'm using Vaseline, like say on my wrists, and I put on perfume, it does last a really long time and it projects. It's amazing. But the Vaseline, it kind of just rubs everywhere, and whenever I write, it just leaves like this mess on my paper, on the desk, and I don't like it at all. So what I did, like as an alternative, is actually hand cream. So what we want to do for this is you want to take a little bit of your hand cream, and then what you want to do is spray a little bit of your perfume on your hands, and then rub it all in together. And then whatever I have left on my hand, I can just like apply it on my neck, because it's basically a moisturizer. You can use this with moisturizer, by the way. It doesn't have to be hand cream. Hand cream is just the convention. Again, on your pulse points, and then everywhere you want it to. Not only is this longer lasting, it actually helps protect your skin as well, because hand cream is like a bit more moisturizing and it makes your fingers a little bit more protected, whereas Vaseline doesn't really do too much for like plumping of your hands and moisturizing. And make sure you use like a fragrance free one, so that way you can combine it with any perfume you want. I'm using the blue Agave hand cream. This is from Sky Bottle. It's really nice, really like it, super moisturizing. But if you do have scented like hand creams, that's an extra bonus. So for example, these are some of my scented hand creams when I am so lazy, I don't feel like putting on perfume on my unscented and rubbing it everywhere. I literally just take this, like squeeze a little bit out and put it on my hands, like on my neck, anywhere, and it is just so good, and it sinks into your skin really well. It doesn't leave like an oily cast. It's just much more comfortable. And if you do want to go a step further with your like scented hand creams, choose like a note that's really similar to a perfume you want to wear, and then spray it on top of that. Like first apply the hand cream and then spritz a little bit on. That way your perfume will last ages, and you can reapply so much easier as well. I'm thinking of like when you're at work and you want to reapply your hand cream, you're also applying a perfume at the same time. So some of my favorite ones is this one from Marmad. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a bergamot scent. I really like this one. And this is classic Aesop. This is also a bergamot. I really like my citruses. It wakes me up. It's amazing. Now the final thing I want to talk about is actually accessorizing. So one thing I know a lot of people like to do is that perfume is the final step of your entire routine, your makeup, your outfit. You spray it on and you feel amazing, as you should. However, I definitely recommend doing it as your second last step, especially if you're a jewelry lover and you like to wear a lot of metals. So for example, I'm wearing this necklace today. This is actually I think it's just like metal, whatever, but it is like this golden color and it will discolor over time. So if I'm spraying alcohol or like a lot of liquids on it, it will make it like just fade away a lot faster. The shine will fade. It won't be like gold anymore. So always just spray your perfume before you accessorize, and then wait for it to actually dry down, and then put on your necklace, your earrings, wherever. Because I know a lot of people like to spray some perfume behind their ears. Again, I don't recommend putting on your earrings and then your perfume, unless it's like a very durable metal like 24K gold or like sterling silver, things like that, titanium. Those are a bit more durable, but I still wouldn't recommend just, you know, going out of your way to ruin them in my opinion. So yeah, try to put on your accessory after you put on your perfume. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something new and this was helpful, because in my opinion, I just want my experience with perfume to be amazing for not only myself but people around me, and these are the things I stumbled along the way for my perfume journey. So hope you took away some things from that and will start implementing some of these into your routine. If you know any other hacks, please let me know down below. I do have a few more, but I'm not sure if you guys want to see it, so let me know if you want to see that and I'll compile it into a new video. But that's it for today's video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up or even subscribe to my channel and let me know down below what you would like to see next from me. But that's it for me, and I'll see you guys for the next one.